Have you ever outgrown a version of yourself you used to love, but now you feel lost without them? Have you ever looked in the mirror and not recognized the person staring back at you? Not because of how they looked, but because of how life changed them? Are you in a season where you're not going backwards, but you're not sure how to move forward either? If that's you, this episode is yours. Welcome back to Chasing Stability, the podcast for the in-between space. For the ones who know they've changed, but aren't sure who they're becoming yet. For the ones who feel unrecognizable to themselves, the ones who have shed version after version of who they used to be and still don't quite know who's left standing. Maybe something broke. Maybe everything did. And now you're here in the in-between with me, where you're no longer your old self, but you're also not your new one yet either. This episode is not about being lost. It's about becoming. Because sometimes the scariest part of healing isn't the pain, it's the unfamiliar piece that you just happen to stumble into. So let's talk about identity loss, personal growth, in that weird place in the middle. Before everything shifted, I thought I had a clear sense of self. I was me. The girl who showed up, did it alone, smiled through the pain, always knew what she wanted, and partied her way through all of it. I had a rhythm in my life that worked at the time. I had friends, my relationships, and my future plans. They were not perfect. Nothing ever is. But my life was predictable. Then something happened. Illness, heartbreak, burnout, rock bottom. And the person I was just did not fit anymore. There's a unique grief that comes with personal growth, not just for what happened, but for who you were when life felt different. Sometimes it hits you suddenly, and other times it's like a slow release or slow impact. But one day you wake up and realize I'm not the version of me that I used to be anymore. Maybe your laugh is different. Maybe you don't trust people the same. Or maybe the things that you once wanted so badly in your life are things that you don't even think about anymore. For me, it was caused by something traumatic, but that's not how it always goes down. Sometimes it's just time. We grow up. Life changes. We view things completely different. The person you used to be doesn't fit the life you're living anymore. But what makes this hard is you don't know who's going to be filling the void, who you're going to step into after the becoming. You don't have a new identity to replace the last. You're just in this middle ground, unsure, unsettled, and unnamed. And sometimes you get scared to leave that life because it's been good. You like this version of you. It's comfortable. So you keep showing up out of muscle memory, basically, saying yes out of habit, but inside you're not there anymore. You start feeling like a plant that needs a new pot. You've outgrown your surroundings. You start feeling like you're losing yourself or who you are or who you used to be. And that disconnect between who you were and who you're becoming, it's lonely for sure. It's quiet. It's uncertain. But the most important thing about it is that it's finally making you face who you are and be honest. And it can make you want that comfort zone back. There are plenty of times that I've caught myself trying to revert back to who I was in front of people that I honestly don't think want me to be this different version of myself. I start questioning everything. Do I like this old version like I thought? Or am I just surviving and waiting for something much better and much more? And maybe the hardest part isn't letting go of the old version of yourself. It's knowing that other people will still expect you to show up as that old person when you walk through the door. People will say things like, "You've changed," like it's an insult. But what they really mean is, I miss the version of you that didn't make me uncomfortable. Or maybe the version of you who didn't set boundaries, the version who said yes all the time, the one who made everyone look better because you were always so fucking crazy. And now that you're evolving, they don't know where to put you. And honestly, thank God that they don't. Because the next season of your life is not about fitting back into a version of yourself that made other people more comfortable to be around you. It's about expanding into someone who doesn't need to be understood in order to be respected. The people who get it will stay. The people who don't, that's not your burden to carry anymore. The middle is messy to sit in, of course, because clarity doesn't come all at once. It comes in waves. And you have to sit there and wait for the clarity to really sink in. Maybe it starts with you saying no when you would have said yes before, just because you really don't want to say yes. Or maybe it's setting one boundary that you never would have set before. For me, I always used to be the friend that would give all of my time and effort to people when I really didn't have it to give. I would put my own sanity on the back burner to make anyone else comfortable and feel like they were loved. But then when I'd need them, they wouldn't show back up. So I stopped doing that for people I knew wouldn't do it for me. It sounds so simple and like petty and small when I say it out loud, but for me, it was a huge boundary that I had let people walk all over for years, honestly, my whole life. As I set more and more small boundaries, they started to feel like little wins. They started shifting my perspective to what I deserved. It's healing me slowly, but I'm still not where I want to be. So this leaves people asking me, like, what's next? Who are you now? What do you want? And honestly, the truth is, I don't know. And what's really satisfying about that is also, I don't care. And I don't care if they don't think that that's normal, that I don't know what I want. Because here's the thing about the in-between space. It's where you have to sit with it, all of it, and trust that God has you or whatever you believe. And that trust, it doesn't come easy, especially when you feel like God or the universe or whatever took you so far from everything you thought you wanted. I used to think if I prayed hard enough, showed up enough, stayed kind enough, God would give me exactly what I dreamed of. But then things started breaking. Doors started closing. People left. And I thought maybe he stopped listening. But what I didn't see then was that I wasn't being punished. I was being redirected. Sometimes things are removed not because you're being forgotten, but because you're being protected. I've always loved the quote that says something like, God took you out of the room because he heard conversations that you never did. But I think he does this too with ourselves. when we wander down a road that isn't where we are supposed to be. That's how I feel like we get to this in between space. And the in between, that quiet, weird, slow space, it's not empty. It's a sacred lesson that you're learning. God's not rushing you to figure it out. No one is. And if they are, block them out. This is time that you're being given to come home to yourself, the person that you love inside of you. You're being given the chance to rebuild. And this is where you build that understanding that silence and stillness doesn't mean nothing is happening. It's not that you're lost. Please, please change the narrative in your mind that you're lost to you're clearing out space to become who you need to be. None of this is going to be instant, and that makes it hard sometimes to navigate. Trust me, I get that. I still struggle with it sometimes. There are still times when I know that I should be fine with where I'm at, but I'm not. And I call my best friend and I cry about it and I complain. But you have to let the dust settle off the past, whether it be from a breakup or a trauma or an illness or a loss, before you can name what you truly want or need from the situation happening. Because the healing that comes from being in the in-between, however you get there and whatever brought you there, that is what changes your whole perspective of what you want in life. It changes you to your core. You're not lazy for not knowing what you want. You're not behind for not having it all figured out and have it all planned out to a T, like that's ever going to work anyway. You're in the process. That's not a weakness. That's just being human. And while you're in this in-between space, I want you to notice something that it took me a long time to really focus on, because loud joy might not be showing up as much right now as you'd want it to be. But turn your perspective around and look at the quiet joy. The way a song makes you smile while you're driving when 3 weeks ago it made you cry. The early morning workout on the day where you're actually rested and not dragging your feet every step of the way to get there. Laughing at a stupid meme that makes you feel like maybe you are still in there somewhere. Those things are healing too. You don't need big milestones to measure your growth. They're great, they're fun, but sometimes it's the stillness, the softness, the sigh you finally get to let out, the weight that is lifted off your shoulders. I used to think joy had to be extremely loud. Vacations, parties, big extravagant moments. But like I said, lately, it's been morning light coming through my blinds and enjoying the first few minutes of my day with my dogs on either side. Or it's been me calling my mom just to talk to her and actually listening to her advice. It's been being able to sit with myself without wanting to escape or run off and distract my mind with some kind of project. Joy doesn't always have to roar. Sometimes it's just like a little hum in the background. And when you start hearing it again, even if it's like so quiet and so quick, but you're hearing it, that means you're coming back to you, to your life, the you used to know before life changed you. For years after my sickness, I wanted to jump back into going out and getting drunk and high and being around my friends and family like I used to do all the time. But I wasn't ready then. And when I'd try, I'd fail, and it'd make me feel like I was failing even more. After breakups, I forced myself to go out and flirt, knowing damn well I didn't want to. And I was doing it to prove a point to who, I'm not really sure. I don't think any of us ever really know who we're trying to prove the point to. But I'm sure if you're honest and you're listening to this, you have felt that way or done something like that before. But right now, I want you to just take a real quick second and answer honestly for me. In any of those moments when you did something you truly didn't want to do, did they ever bring you anything other than a lesson that maybe I should have listened to my instinct and just stayed home until I was ready? I'm not saying never do the things that make you uncomfortable. I'm talking about the things that you know you don't want to do and are doing them to solely please people. Two very different things. Make sure you know the difference. And if you're listening to this, maybe you're like me and your truth is you're still becoming. Just because you can't describe who you really are yet to a full degree doesn't mean you're empty. It just means you're still figuring it out. And in the middle of all the unknowns, there's still signs of you in there that you want to hang on to. For example, the way you still show up when you're tired. Or maybe it's the way you love even after your heart has been shattered 1,000 times over into 1,000 tiny pieces. Or maybe it's the way you hope and have faith even after everything that you have planned didn't go to plan. That's not weakness. That is strength, and it is character, and it is what makes you you. You don't have to have your whole identity figured out today. God knows to the bottom of his heart that I don't. And my healing, it has been extremely slow, and maybe yours is too. The becoming stage is gradual, one step at a time, like going for a drive with the windows down and feeling like a kid again with your hand out the window, or playing your favorite board game with family and remembering how life used to feel so easy. Build the you you're coming back into from the foundational things that used to bring you the purest joy. Build to make God and yourself proud and no one else. Because at the end of the day, you're the one that has to sit with you day in and day out. And only you know who you truly are, inside, outside, and all the things in between. So if you're not who you were, but you don't know who you are yet, let's just take a minute to understand that that is okay. And it's damn brave to be able to admit it. And it's going to take growth to find it. You're not behind. You're just in the middle of becoming someone softer, deeper, stronger, probably even truer. And in this messy, sacred middle ground, that version of you is worth the patience, worth the wait it takes to come home to yourself. You're already whole. 100% already worthy, and obviously every part of you is beautiful. You're just rebranding how you show up for yourself. And that's something you should always be proud of. And on that note, we're going to stop there. If this episode made you feel seen, send it to someone else still becoming too, because chasing stability isn't about having it all together. It's about giving yourself grace to grow and sharing it with the people around you that make you feel comfortable in this new being. This is Chasing Stability, and I'll meet you in the in-between next Tuesday.